that phrase and that entire mindset, we might say ideology that's behind the American dream, I think we could probably make a pretty strong argument that it, more than anything else, not just the phrase, but the ideology, it more than anything else has contributed to the individualism in the country that is destroying the family. Good afternoon, this Tom. Still in the mobile studio, still on an afternoon drive this time from work. But this is Notes from the Pulpit. This is the companion edition to the Family Pulpit podcast. The main show, we just released episode 17 this week, and it discussed the family economy, defining what that was, using a few quotes from different sources to lay out an outline of what that looks like, what it might look like in the day-to-day. So be sure that you take a listen to that. It may end up being, I'm not sure how to yet to do this, it may end up being the end of a season, and then we've already got a plan for where we're going to head next. It is going to build on the family economy, but it's actually going to probably be a look at a book of scripture. And I'll get into more details on that another time. But I wanted to hop on here in this afternoon drive because today I saw an article, I believe, by the Wall Street Journal. I think this was Wall Street Journal. Don't quote me on that. But the article was giving a percentage. I think it was like 49%. It may have been actually yesterday, Wall Street Journal. But anyway, it's caught a lot of press today. They were given the number, 49% of those of adults under the age of 30 are still living with their parents. And a lot of the comments on this article were talking about how, given some things that have happened recently, and by that I mean like in the last 5 to 10 years. So we're talking about the inflation that we're seeing, the rising cost of home ownership, rising cost of education expenses. They were lamenting these things, okay, largely blaming liberal policies. Which, listen, these liberal and conservative, they're working hand in hand. It's not like you're seeing a complete total undoing of everything that happened in the last few years presidency. It's not like you're seeing an undoing of that. It's not like prices are coming down. They continue to skyrocket. We're not doing anything to help this. Our debt is still massively outrageous. So it's a little bit short-sighted to blame some of the policies recently on that. But I get it. I understand why. It's because that people think that they have short-term memories, right? Like we're looking at this and we're thinking, yeah, over the last few years, things have gotten worse. That's probably where this has all come from, but that's not the case. And then they'll lament and say the American dream is gone. You know, we've lost the American dream. Well, the American dream, let me just be frank for a minute. The American dream is a psychological operation. I was going to say fallacy. It is a fallacy, but it's largely a psychological operation that happened. This isn't conspiracy. This is factual. It happened in post-World War II, so in our Cold War time frame. By the way, go back and listen to some of the episodes that we have on the main show where we look at this time period of the Cold War, and I bring up the propaganda techniques that were used then. They were widely distributed to try to instill patriotism in the country via magazines and publications, TV shows, etc. But not just patriotism. It was to promote a lifestyle at home, kind of like a consumerism mindset, right? Like, so don't worry about World War II. Don't worry about the Cold War. Don't worry about all of these issues that have come up, especially like the Great Depression that took place, which we're still trying to dig ourselves out of financially and economically. Instead, focus on these things, okay? So in that, the government literally took the American dream concept. Now, the American dream, originally that phrase comes from 1931 by a man by the name of James Adams. He wrote in his book, The Epic of America. And he talked about how it was a way that people could go to America and regardless of their their social status, regardless of income, etc. It didn't matter where they were, their birthplace or position in life, they could basically become a success story. Okay, so the government took this and turned the American dream into a consumerism product. You know, like if you have a house, if you have a car, if you have these things, then you've achieved the American dream, right? And then that's morphed over time to be, go get yourself, and I've lamented about this before, go get yourself the good college education, then you can buy a house and you can get a car, etc. So what people are saying, what they're actually saying is the American dream is lost on Gen Z because they can't get a house, they can't get a car, they've got college debt, etc. But do you see that mindset is extremely consumeristic? Like it's wrapped around this model of consumerism, okay? And I'm going to tell you I'll show you where I'm going in just a second. So some people have lamented the fact the American dream's gone, right? And they base it on recent policies. That's not true. It's been something that's been a long process, a long drawn out process to get us here, okay? American dream, send that to the side. It's a consumeristic, not only is it consumerism focused, but it's individual focused, okay? It's focused on the individual. That phrase and that entire mindset, we might say ideology that's behind the American dream, I think we could probably make a pretty strong argument that it more than anything else, not just the phrase, but the ideology, it more than anything else has contributed to the individualism in the country that is destroying the family. Okay? Individualism. That means you are a separate unit from your family. You go do whatever it is that you want to do. You want to go get a college degree and whatever that the family's never done anything in, fine. And this is a post-industrial revolution mindset, especially post-World War II, with that industrial revolution mindset, okay? So it's promoting consumerism and it's promoting the individual. Now, other people have commented on here and they'll tell their own stories about how like they moved out of the house at 17. They've never gone back except for to visit their parents. And they got a college education, they got a job, they never went back, okay? This, again, is the individual mindset. It's what I'm trying to correct in some of the things that we've talked about on the podcast to show you that the fundamental basis, the fundamental element of society isn't an individual, it's a family. It's a family unit. That's the way it's always been. We got away from this. And in our Family Pulpit podcast episode, the latest one, I think I go over this a little bit, but the entire history that we laid out in like episode 6 or 7, something like that, running through about 10 or 12, shows you how the destruction of the family has evolved over time, over history, and some of the main elements that's contributed to that destruction of the family. Okay, it's the breakdown of that, and then what comes in the place of the family? It's the individual. It's the rise of the individual. So other people are saying, hey, Gen Z, again, that generation, you need to quit living in your parents' basement. You need to go get yourself a job. You need to get out of the house. You need to go get yourself your own house. Buy these things, right? Like you need to go incur debt, essentially, so that you can show that you've made it in life, all right? Still, other people would probably turn the blame to the boomers and say, you know what, they've got their houses, they're paid off, they're living off of their pension or Social Security or whatever, and there's nothing out there left for the younger generation. Okay, people are all over the map on these things, and it's crazy, it's wild, and I get it. I understand how easy it is to point fingers and to blame people, how easy it is to blame. Hang on, I'm getting up to speed here, and other people are too. It's a little bit loud. But I get how easy it is to blame people, right? And to say, look at you, loser. How can you be living in your mom's basement? How come you can't go out and get your job? And a lot of times these people that they're talking about, I'm guessing in this Wall Street Journal article, are probably going to be singles. And a lot of times they're probably going to be male. So no wife, no kids, at home, under the age of 30, can't afford a house, okay? Now, I'm not going to bring up myself as an example, but I had a house as a young age. It was a fixer-upper in a bad neighborhood. I mean, that's really, guys, if this is the direction that you want to go in, I'm going to tell you the corrective for this in just a second. But if this is the direction you want to go in, you have to set your sights lower. You're not gonna be able to come out of college and buy a $300,000-$400,000 house. It's not gonna happen. This market won't allow it. But you know what you may be able to buy? You may be able to buy a $50,000 to $100,000 house that takes a little bit of your sweat equity to invest into it. You're young, you're strong, you have time. Go do that before you get a wife and kids. And then maybe you can turn around and sell that and buy something that is a little bit more suitable for a family. That's the path that I took, and I took that 20 some years ago. Here I said I wasn't going to talk about myself, and I ended up doing it. But anyway, I'm not pointing fingers because I get it, I understand. What I am going to tell you about is the opportunity that rises up in this situation. And it's exactly what I've been talking about in for this whole entire podcast journey that we've been on, about the family economy, and how it needs to be multi-generational. So there's opportunity here. If you recapture the family economy the way that it should be in a multi-generational household, okay, there's opportunity for you to have multiple families in this singular household where everybody is contributing to the family economy, not just individual pieces with individual incomes, but you're able to leverage all of that income together. And it's now by necessity. If you grasp this concept of the family economy, and this isn't just a family small business per se. It could be. It very well could be. It could be small businesses. But these are things that the family does together. We might call them ventures or enterprises. It doesn't even necessarily have to return a salary per se, but it's things that the family does together in order to become more self-sufficient, in order to, you may even say, in order to provide for other people, if it is a small business, okay? But it's the family working together, not as individual pieces, but together and collectively working together, all right? So what I'm saying is that there is a massive opportunity here, not for it to be a disgrace, not for you to be embarrassed because you're 30 years old or in your 20s or whatever, and you have to live at home with your parents because you can't afford to go buy a $400,000 or $500,000 house. Don't do that. Don't buy that $400,000 or $500,000 house. You're falling into the trap of that American dream that's been taken over. It had a hostile takeover post-World War II in the Cold War era. It had a hostile takeover to promote consumerism and materialism and cause you to take on debt that you don't need. Do not fall for that trap. There is opportunity here. The opportunity is that if you're going to live at home with your parents, at some point, if you're in your 20s or 30s, guess what? At some point, your parents are going to need you to help them out physically because their health is going to ail or fail. You don't want to do what these people who are pointing fingers say. Well, hey, listen, I moved out of the house at age 17 and I never looked back. I just went home to visit. Really? What about when your parents had their health that was failing? Were you there, or did you just hand them over to the state? It's because we promoted the individual that we leave and we don't ever look back. I feel terrible for the fact that I left my family, quote unquote, and went off to college and left my sister, who's 5 years younger than me, now in a home environment with our parents when her entire life it had been all of us together. Like, I can't even fathom. I can't understand, because I was selfish and chasing the individual American dream as well. But how upsetting that would be to someone. Like, this is their family, and now what they've known for their whole life has now been ripped apart? Like, what is this? Whose idea was this? You won't find it in scripture. Yes, I get it. Yes, they were sent off to go look for wives for so-and-so, but largely those families, they stayed together. Here I was talking about like when they went to look for Jacob a wife, and when the servant of Abraham was sent to look for Isaac a wife, these types of things. But the principle still remains. Largely the family was held together, and that was even extended family, okay? Back to my original point, like how upsetting that's going to be for a younger sibling or siblings to have an older one who that's all they've known, right? Is this dynamic, family dynamic, and now it's overturned. It's upset. They're essentially an only child, and you're only going to come back in holidays or to visit. Like, what kind of mindset do we have to adopt that says this is okay? What I'm telling you is is that this new article from the Wall Street Journal, it creates an opportunity. Now, I am not saying that it's okay to be lazy. I'm not saying that it's okay to lack ambition. I'm not saying that it's okay to lack ambition at all. I'm not saying these things. You need to have ambition. But what I'm saying is that there's potential opportunity here. There's potential opportunity to have a multi-generational family and to be better situated than what you would be if you went off to college, got your degree, and then went to get in debt $400,000 or $500,000 on a house. And then your parents fall into poor health, and now you have to make a decision. Do I move back home to care for them and upset everything that I tried to build as an individual? Or do I hand them over to the state and just cut my losses and say, there's nothing else I can do for you? You guys see what I'm saying here? There's an opportunity. We're heading into this more and more. This is not going to go away. The financial problems that you're seeing and you're hearing about, they're increasing. They're going to get worse. And I really do think that there's going to be a major opportunity here to draw back and pull back together into these multi-generational families, reestablishing the family and saying, you know what? We're no longer individual pieces out doing our own thing, but now we have multiple streams of income. Hey, you know what? Let's pull our streams together and let's do something together as a family. Let's develop this family economy. What are our skills? What are our giftings that the Lord has provided us with? We have skills, abilities, and gifting that the Lord's given us. What can we do together with those? Can we help other people with those? Maybe we need to take our skills collectively and start thinking, hey, guys, financially, things look like they're not getting any better. Maybe collectively we need to see, can we raise some food? Can we plant some things? Do we have room in our backyard for a couple chickens? What things can we do where we live? I'm not telling you to go out and get 5 acres and a cow. No disrespect to Chesterton and Belloc, but everybody might not be able to do that right now. But maybe you should start thinking that way, though. Maybe you should. Maybe you should say, you know what? We've got a paid off house. I'm living with my parents and their house is paid off. Maybe we need a place that's more conducive to a couple dwellings with a little bit more land to give us a little bit more flexibility. And we can use the income that the equity that we have in this house that's paid off and go secure that for us. And just plan that it's going to be us as a family, that we're going to stay together. Even if you're a young man in that 18 to 30 age bracket, and you're like, what do I do about a wife? Well, you know what? Explain to her the logic of the family economy and how a family needs to stay together. And as a man, take the lead in that. Ladies, explain to your potential husband or fiance or boyfriend the logic of the family economy, what this looks like, the importance of the family staying together. So I'm not on board with all of these large social media accounts that are pointing fingers at Gen Z, that are saying they did so much better. You know, I can do that too. And it's not cool. There's opportunity here. And people can't look past the individual. They can't see past this. They're stuck in this mindset. They're stuck in this mind frame. And we've got to get out of it. We've got to get back to the family as the basic unit, not the individual. The individual, to be honest, that's what's got us in this mess in the first place. Too much individualism. It really is. Too much of you wanting to do your own thing, chasing your own dreams. So think about that. If you see the Wall Street Journal article, let me know. Put some comments somewhere on this. Let me know your thoughts on it. What do you think? Is it just something where we want to make fun of Gen Z and say, haha, look at you, loser. You're playing video games. The stereotypical meme of the dude playing video games in his mom's basement, yelling up at her to make him a meatloaf sandwich or something. Or is there opportunity here? I think there's opportunity. I really do. And I think we can capitalize on this. I think we can pull back together. We're going to need each other for what I think is coming in the next year or two. You're going to need your family. You are. You're not going to make it. You won't make it individual. It won't make it. You're going to need each other. That's all I got. We'll catch you on the next one.